Yo, what's popping? I'm taking a look at the Florida Mayhem after the kickoff clash and into the midseason madness. So, like the video if you like it, subscribe for more daily Overwatch League content, and comment down below how you think the Florida Mayhem are going to do in the midseason madness. So, if you want to know more about their qualifying matches, I said stuff about it in the video above, up there. And yeah, so looking at their tournament, in the winners round one, they lose to the Atlanta Reign 3-1. Not a bad loss. Like, right? I think they were technically favored going in. A lot of people didn't like how Atlanta were looking. They were looking boomed. Atlanta came to play. And because they did, they looked good. And Florida couldn't beat them. It wasn't a bad loss to incur, right? But it does say you're not a top four team. Or you're not a top three team, I guess. You could be better than Shock, maybe. But I don't know. And then losers round one, they lose to the Washington Justice 3-1. Now this looks, or they win, my bad. They win to the Washington Justice 3-1. Now this looks like a good win because Washington just took the Shock to 5. Yes, but it was not the same team. Washington doing the standard Washington thing, looking good, then looking bad. That was not a good Washington Justice team. That was looking like a bottom 5 Washington Justice team. So they move on to Dallas, who comes second in the tournament, and they lose 3-1, and it's pretty set, right? It's a pretty set 3-1 win. So, what do we take from this? Well, the best team they've beaten still, if you look at the qualifiers, if you look at the tournament, is the Washington Justice. That's not inspirational. So, it's still very hard to gauge this team, in my opinion. Even though you can say, oh, the eye test, they look good. Yeah, but they haven't gotten past anyone, and it's not like their loss against Dallas wasn't like a blowout, but it was not that like it wasn't like hyper competitive either. So it's hard. Anyway, this roster, your tanks are someone in Adam, but Adam's getting no playtime because someone is just benching him. Your DPS are Checkmate, Hydron, and Exy. Exy's going to make it to this stage, but Hydron and Checkmate both played very well. And your supports are Surma, Jed, Animo, and Kariv. Kariv is just there on the bench. Maybe he comes in to play double flex support. I could see it. It's possible. So how did this team not make it further into the midseason into the kickoff clash? Losing to Atlanta, losing to Dallas. I think it is, to me, mostly the flexibility. We've seen someone play some Zarya, but he definitely prefers the Winston. And to me, they're kind of like a downgrade to Shock, where they have the same like overall kind of game plan. Yes, you're basing your team around Surma Jed, kind of walking into their back line and just getting antis, and it works pretty well sometimes. It works pretty poorly sometimes. I still think he needs to pick his spots better and have it as like make sure it, like you can have it as your primary option, but it shouldn't be the like the flowchart. There needs to be some sort of flowchart there. Right now, the flowchart is Surma Jed, backline, Nate die. We need a split off here to a Surma Jed, live, don't go backline, split off, get value by living kind of thing. I do think they ran that a little bit. They look better, but and I don't think that playstyle is the reason they lost. I think it's a viable solution for them to try and win games. But I would like some more. I don't know. Florida's a weird team. They do look good though. Moving on to Exy. I don't know how much Exy improves this team over Hydron. I thought Hydron played very well. I liked his Widowmaker a lot. I liked his Soldier a lot. And I don't know if Exy could do a much better job than he did. Maybe that's not true, but I think it's true. If Exy returns to his top form that he had when he was like on Paris, maybe he is better than Hydron. But after an injury, that can't be. You don't know if he's going to return to that form. It's just it's a possibility he doesn't. It's a good risk to take if you're Florida. I think it's a worthwhile risk taking, but there is a very real possibility that a Hydron is better in that slot. And then there's also the possibility of playing Hydron on Tracer and Exy instead of Checkmate on Tracer. Checkmate Tracer has looked good, but it's been a little turbulent for him. I haven't been sold completely that he is Like, he's a great tracer at times, but sometimes it's not fully there. Hydron Tracer, maybe it is. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but it is an option moving forward to put Hydron on Tracer. Don't know if that's going to be what they're doing, but it is an option. Looking at Kariv, if there's a double flex support meta next stage, it could be a Kariv Sermajed backline. That's real. We'll see what happens. I trust both of these players. I do like Sermajed more. And their playstyles are a little. Well, Sermajed playstyle is different from everyone, so I guess that's not really fair to say. But we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think this team could do a good double flex support. Kariv, he's had some highs. He's kind of been on a consistent downward trend since the start of the league, really. But I still think he'll be a decent option on some maps. So we'll see. Maybe a Circuit Royale he pops in. I don't know if he has been in. I don't think he has been, but we'll see. So looking at their schedule, they play London, Toronto week 7, Dallas Shock week 8, Boston week 9, and Gladiators week 10. So when will we know? When will we finally be able to put the scheduling to rest? When will we be able to say this is a good team? Or the schedule has been nice to them, this is a bad team? Is it week 7? Is it this first week where they play London, Toronto? I think London, pretty good team. If London beat them, that will solidify them as like just straight up mid, right? If they beat London, how high can they go? Toronto, how will Toronto do after these coaching changes? What will they be leaning into? If we see a really strong Toronto and Florida beat them, that's good. If we see a weaker Toronto and Florida beat them, what does that mean? Where do they stop? Is it number 5? Maybe. Is it below a Houston? Is it below a Toronto? Also, that's kind of where I'm leaning. A little bit. We'll see. We'll see. Because I know there are a lot of believers, there are a lot of doubters. I'm a little bit of a doubter. I think people are overhyping this team just a little bit. I think it's a very solid team. But I don't know how high the Sermajed playstyle takes them. I think it is very easy to capitalize on if you're a stronger team. Because you kind of know what's going to happen. You can play around that in some form. So, I don't know. That's going to be it for me. This is a longer video, I just realized. Whatever. Florida Mayhem's an interesting thing to talk about, so that makes sense. So, have a good one, and deuces.